Hey there, all you cool cats and kittens. Welcome to, I don't even know what this is called. It's on KSLSports.com. Have we come up with a name for this stream?
I think it's just the NFL draft coverage, KSLSports.com.
Okay, it's just an NFL draft special on KSLSports.com. I'm Jeremiah Jensen. Hopefully you know who I am. Maybe you don't. Maybe you don't watch. Hopefully you do. Joining me for this session, Trevor Allen, Ute Insider for KSLSports.com. Introduce yourself, Trevor.
Yeah, I'm the host of the Crimson Corner podcast, and I'm looking forward to a really busy night with a lot of Utes probably going to be taken in these next two rounds.
Excellent. And in the bottom right corner, fresh out of prison, biker gangs are bad, guys. So is meth. Emma Haymuli, how you doing?
Good. I still have all my teeth.
Oh, good. Oh, good. Okay.
So I have a few years of meth use still to go.
Yeah, everybody needs to see your outfit.
Tiger King inspired?
Don't tread on me, guys.
America.
Oh, yes, patriotic. There we go.
Do not tread on Emma. And, of course, BYU fans know who's in the bottom left corner. It's Mitch Harper of KSLSports.com. Mitch, what's up?
Hey, good to talk to you guys. Good seeing you, JJ and Emma and Trevor. It's been a long time since I've been in the building, but unlike Trevor, I don't think I'll have as much to write about tonight, but I just want something really weird in the NFL draft. I hope some trades, hope some craziness in the broadcast happens. Last night, we had guys wearing robes. We had all this, like, what was it, Vrabel? There's a guy wearing a Frozone suit. I want stuff like that to happen in draft.
Titans have to have a lot of picks tonight to make this really interesting.
Somebody got caught going to the bathroom on live TV.
Yeah.
See that?
I mean,
that. The draft delivered. And I don't know if you guys knew this, but the ratings for the NFL draft first round were up 33% last night.
Sounds a lot like Sports Beat.
I mean,
huge. Yeah, exactly. It's just like Sports Beat.
I'm not honestly shocked because we don't have anything else to cover other than, having to cover horse and NBA 2K tournaments. I mean, this is about as good as it gets right now in sports.
It was fun. It was cool. And I got to give props to ESPN and NFL Network and everybody involved for putting together a broadcast like that for 4 hours with basically just webcams all over the country. I was pretty impressed. So it was cool. I thought the draft was great. And considering the circumstances, to have a broadcast come off like that was pretty cool.
Yeah, I was struggling just to get on and have my mic turned on in this broadcast. So, yeah, I can only imagine the 150 webcams they had. That's pretty amazing what they were doing.
Yeah, they certainly pulled it off. Okay, before we move forward to today, I want to go back and talk about round one, which was fun. And we'll localize it first. But at the same time, I think the biggest story of the first round was Jordan Love, the Packers taking Jordan Love. Everybody, what was your reaction when you found out that Jordan Love was going to Green Bay?
I mean, it's just exactly of what we all thought. I mean, it was shocking. And, because we were hearing the Patriots, but then, the Patriots traded out. And then we were hearing, potentially moving up to maybe to the Chargers at 6. And then, as soon as Green Bay moved up, we were like, are they going to take a quarterback? I think they moved up, 4 spots, trading with Miami. And then now it's created a little bit of turmoil in Green Bay because we know how Aaron Rodgers is a little bit, to where now they're kind of putting a little bit of a timestamp on his career and saying, look, we got a young rising talent here in Green Bay who's going to take your spot here in the next couple of years.
I think that happened, 15 years ago in Green Bay? It worked out pretty well for the Packers, though, right? Aaron Rodgers and Brett Favre. That was a little uncomfortable at first. But it all worked out for the best for the franchise because they went from one great quarterback to another Hall of Famer. So, Hema, what was your reaction, Jordan Love in Green Bay?
Oh, I was excited. He couldn't have landed at a better spot. Like you said, this has happened before, and kind of similarly, Aaron Rodgers had 3 years to learn how to be a quarterback. And I always said Jordan Love, just needs a couple of years to figure it out, get some good tutelage under his belt. And then, I think he'll be great. I'm excited that he landed there.
I'm just confused, guys, by the anger from Green Bay Packer fans. I mean, wide receiver, I get that, but it's like there were so many wide receivers taken at that point. Why reach for a wide receiver that wasn't as valuable as Jordan Love at that spot? Jordan Love is a good pick at that spot, and I think if you feel like he can be the next quarterback of the future, even if it's maybe 3 years premature, it's a good pick for the Packers. I don't understand why that Packers fan base is getting so caught up in a short-term kind of thinking. The Packers are playing the long-term game, and that's what you want to do in the NFL. You might have 2 franchise quarterbacks on that roster now, and if you're the Packers, I mean, that's a luxury very few teams could potentially have. I thought it was a smart pick, not just from the fact that it was a local guy, but I think his best football, Jordan Love, is still ahead of him. I think that he's going to be a really good quarterback in the league.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead, Emma.
Sorry. No, it's just you look. The top receivers are already picked. I mean, Brandon Ayuk was picked right before him. Like, second round is going to be all serviceable wide receivers, and they're going to get lots of good wide receivers to learn under Devontae Adams and Devin Funchess. So it's not a big deal. I think.
How many guys are mid-level wide receivers in the league when they were coming out of college end up doing well? I mean, you don't have to get the superstar wide receiver in the first round.
Exactly.
Find guys that can play that position. I mean, we're seeing it with the running back position right now, right? I mean, you're going to get great value in the second, third, and even the fourth round on running backs today and tomorrow. So, like, there's these receivers in the first round, these guys like Jerry Jeudy and CeeDee Lamb, those guys are really, really good. So, yeah, they're worth a first-round pick. But Green Bay wasn't getting any of those guys. So I think going for Jordan Love was smart on their end. And I'm going to say this about Jordan Love on his end. This is the best case scenario for Jordan Love because he's going to go in a situation where there's not going to be pressure on him to start day one. He didn't go top 5 either. So look at the guys in the top 5, Tua and Justin Herbert, top 6, okay? And then Joe Burrow. These guys are going to be expected to be franchise quarterbacks right out of the gate. That's a lot of pressure. Jordan Love doesn't have to deal with that pressure. Okay, he's going to go into Green Bay, which is a great organization. That's my biggest point here, is it's so important for guys to land in the right place. That's why if you're drafted by New England, it's like such a great thing because you know you're going to go play for a great organization that's going to handle you the right way and help you develop properly. There's places like Joe Burrow going to Cincinnati. I mean, he's from Ohio. It makes a lot of sense. But, I mean, if I'm Joe Burrow, I don't want to play there because that organization's awful, and everybody knows they are. And there's a list of, the Chargers are another organization that's just, great players go there to die, right? Phillip Rivers made it there forever, but he's an exception to the rule. So great position for Jordan Love to be in where he can grow and develop. He doesn't have the pressure of being a top 5 guy. If he was taken by the Chargers, it'd be a little different situation for him. And now he's going to go play for a great organization. And when he's ready to go, he's going to be in a great situation. And I think a situation to win as well, which is important. It's similar to what happened with Patrick Mahomes. We keep having these Patrick Mahomes, Jordan Love comparisons, but this is a similar situation where you come in and you're playing behind a great quarterback and and you're in a great organization with a really good head coach and GM. I think it's an awesome situation for Jordan Love. Okay, we'll move on from Jordan Love. Biggest surprise for you in the first round, I guess, other than Jordan Love? What shocked you the most? Where do you think the bad pick was, or the one pick that really surprised you?
I would say probably 3. There were 3 corners who were rated lower than Jalen Johnson from Utah, and that was once they were getting picked, especially the kid from Auburn who was picked by Miami at number 30. I felt like is this something that maybe teams are a little questionable about with Jalen Johnson's shoulder injury? I get if you get Damon Arnett, AJ Terrell. I get that. I've actually talked about this on the podcast where I even thought that Jalen Johnson was going to go early second round, even though he is a first round talent, just because teams fall in love with some of these other guys. Maybe they're rated a little bit lower than Jalen Johnson, and just, take a chance on them rather than a guy, like Jalen Johnson, who has a little bit of an injury, who's still, coming back from it, but is going to be fine by camp. And, that was the one thing that kind of shocked me was, Miami taking, a corner who was rated, number 8 among all the cornerbacks, and just to where Jalen, who's number 5, is still on the board. And so is Trevon Diggs from Alabama.
Yeah, I think that it's just a situation where teams fall in love with certain guys. And it just happened that those 2 teams picking late in the first round that wanted cornerbacks didn't fall in love with Jalen. They fell in love with somebody else. I don't know that it's necessarily a talent issue. So I think Jalen will land in a spot where a team wants him today. It'll probably be early second round. Emma, what was the biggest surprise or biggest thing that maybe shocked you in the first round?
I don't think it was necessarily a bad pick, but I was surprised that the last pick of the first round was a running back that didn't play for Ohio State, like
Yeah.
it's,
I didn't think he
Edwards.
was going to be the first running back taken either. I was
Yeah.
surprised too.
And so, in fact, with no running backs picked in the first, I was like, okay, second round's when all the running backs are going to get snapped up. But then the last pick was a running back that was Clyde Edwards, Hilaire or whatever. That was surprising to me, but I don't know. They're an organization where I trust. I don't know enough to criticize what they're doing.
If it's I don't know. I'm trying to pick a team that you don't trust. Maybe the Bengals or the Jets taking them. You're like, what are they doing? But when it's the Chiefs and the track record they have right now with personnel and Andy Reid, I think you give them the benefit of the doubt. Mitch, what was your surprise?
I thought the lack of trades and I really thought the New York Giants were going to move out at 4, and when they end up taking Thomas at Georgia, it kind of highlighted why they were trying to trade out, because he could have probably been a guy maybe outside the top 10. They could have got that offensive tackle from Georgia. So surprised that there was lack of trades. I almost wonder if that was a byproduct of the virtual draft and people kind of just getting their ducks in a row and kind of getting their feet under them those first few picks where they couldn't maybe get the logistics all coordinated to line up a trade. I don't know, but I was surprised that there wasn't that team that moved up, because usually you always just see some franchise move up in that top 10 to go get a quarterback. I really thought we were going to maybe see a team move up to go get Jordan Love early in the first round. It ended up the Packers who moved up. But that was, to me, the biggest surprise, that we didn't see movement in that top 10.
Yeah, Mitch, I think a lot of teams just didn't have a chance to do as much homework as they normally do. Didn't have personal visits with guys, and I think that certainly had an impact on some of the decisions that were made. As I'm looking through the first round, Cesar Ruiz at number 24 by the Saints seemed like a bit of a reach for me, especially when you had some pretty good players still on the board, like Patrick Queen, Brandon Ayuk, Jordan Love. Obviously, the Saints feel like Taysom's their guy of the future, but there just seemed like there was still some talent on the board there where going for a center at number 24 felt like a great story.
They had to get the center, though, because they got to protect Taysom, the guy that –
It's center?
It's a long-term play by the Saints. I thought brilliant. Brilliant. They had to do it.
Is that some kind of Taysom thing where you instead of drafting an offensive tackle to protect him, you got to get a center to protect him because he's just going to run anyway?
That's right.
Okay. I get it. But, yeah, I mean, honestly, you know what? I mean, I mentioned Ruiz, but Jordan Love was the shocker for me. Didn't think that – I didn't know what team was going to lock in on him, but for a team to trade up like that and for it to be the Packers with, the best quarterback of the past decade on their roster was probably the biggest surprise for me first round. All right, so we're going to move into second and third round today. I won't hit it a lot because it's going to be here in an hour, and by the time people read this or watch this, they're probably going to be in the middle of it or already watched it. But just real quick, some thoughts on the second, third round. Guys you expect to be taken in the second and third round that are local guys. Trevor, I'll start with you. Who do you expect to go today?
Well, Jalen's going to go first, and I think that you look at the Colts sitting, two picks into the second round, or even the Texans who sit at number 40. I think are possible suitors for Jalen Johnson right out of the gates. If not, I mean, I would be shocked if he goes past maybe the first 10 picks of this second round, and then after that, it's kind of up in the air. You've got guys like Terrell Burgess. Zach Moss could potentially jump up there. I know people have talked about him potentially being a third round guy. And then also Bradley Anae. He's a guy who has been getting a lot of interest from some teams like, and as much as I hate to say it, the Jets are one of the teams, and but I'm hoping that Bradley Anae breaks that schneid if he does indeed get picked by the Jets. But I feel like Bradley Anae, Terrell Burgess, and I'm going to guess Zach Moss and Jalen Johnson are all going to get drafted tonight.
Okay. Emma, what do you see happening tonight?
Yeah, I'm seeing Jalen, like you said, Trevor. But I think Terrell Burgess is going to get snapped up too. I mean, if you look in the first round, a lot of speedy guys are taken, and he's a speedy guy that's still left on the board. A lot of teams need some DBs or speed on their defensive side. So I'm going to say Terrell Burgess. I'm looking forward to seeing him get snapped up.
Yeah, I think Terrell Burgess, Jalen Johnson, and Bradley Anae, I think three guys from Utah go. I think that, it's interesting when you bring up Burgess's speed, Emma, it's just amazing the NFL how, Terrell Burgess was kind of at times just a dude at Utah, just a guy. And now he's one of the probably top NFL prospects in Utah's heralded 2020 class. Just speaks to measurements, speed, intangibles, probably sometimes go farther than the actual production sometimes at the collegiate level. But because the NFL just always blows me away how some guys elevate to this lofty status. And I think they weren't that big of a name in college football, yet they become these highly coveted picks. And I think the Utes end up getting 3 guys tonight in rounds 2 and 3.
I agree. Look, I mean, we've all focused on Zach Moss and Bradley and I, and for good reason. Jalen Johnson, obviously, I actually thought Jalen would sneak into the first round last night, and he almost did. But Terrell Burgess is the name that has buzz that we didn't expect, that is climbing up the boards. He could go in the second round tonight, guys. A lot of buzz around him, and a lot of teams really like him. And it's a great story. He doesn't start until he's a senior, and nobody knows who he is, and all of a sudden he's all Pac-12, and now he's the second or third round pick in the NFL draft. It's a great story. Zach Moss, I feel like you should go in rounds 2 or 3, but running back, man, it's just not the position that it was. It's not as important, and it's Zach's going to be awesome, I think, in the NFL. I think he's a 3-down back in the NFL, but because of the way teams pick these days, he might slip to the 4th round, which is unfortunate, but he's a 2nd or 3rd round talent. But just that's the way the running back position is graded these days with NFL guys, and so he could slip to the 4th round. If there's a guy in that group that I think are 2nd, 3rd round guys, it would probably be Zach slipping. No fault of his own. It's just the running back position, and it's regarded in the NFL right now. It's just not a priority. But I think Bradley and I, Terrell Burgess, Jalen Johnson, don't be surprised, guys, if Julian Blackmon goes higher than you expect.
Interesting.
Morgan Scalley dropped a little intel this week that a lot of NFL teams are talking about him. And look, a guy gets an ACL injury, and he's going to really have to work hard to be ready for camp. But before the injury, he was an All-American. He was 3-time All-Pac-12, and he made a transition in 1 year from cornerback to safety, showing his versatility. Trust me, NFL teams know who he is, and they love him. There'll be questions about the injury, but in the 3rd round, maybe late, maybe somebody says we want to scoop him up now, because I don't think he goes past the 4th round. I think he's a guy that a lot of NFL teams like. So that's something to watch. If Julian doesn't go tonight, 3rd round, then I expect him to go 4th round. I think he's going to go higher than a lot of people. When I think a lot of people thought he might even not get drafted because of the injury, I don't think that's going to be the case. I think there's a lot of buzz about him too. So that's a pretty good synopsis of the 1st round, and I think we're all set to go watch the 2nd and 3rd round. I love the draft, guys. Isn't it awesome? I don't care if it's virtual. It's still been fun. I've enjoyed it. I look forward to seeing what happens tonight. In fact, as we end this session, we're about 40 minutes away, so we're going to go watch that. I have to be on the 5 o'clock news too, so I better get that going. So we're going to wrap this up. But Trevor Allen, Exotic Hema, Mitch Harper, and Jeremiah Jensen here with KSLSports.com. Thanks for watching, and be sure to check out all of our draft content on KSLSports.com. And real quick, guys, shout out your Twitter so people can follow you tonight on Twitter as well. Trevor, what do you?
I am at Trevor A Sports.
There you go.
And I'm at X_Hems.
Shout out to Hema for the coloring book pages.
Seriously.
By the way, the man can do it all. He's creating coloring book pages. So if you want entertainment through the draft, go to Hema's Twitter page. You can follow me at Mitch_Harper. I'll probably just romanticize the passes every BYU fan probably does. So BYU fans watching, we'll just celebrate the glory days. Bring on Jason Buck. Bring on Jim McMahon. Let's go. We don't need draft picks to celebrate. Let's go.
We'll play a bunch of archive footage just for you tonight, Mitch.
Hey, JJ.
Real quick, sorry, Trevor, go ahead.
I was just going to say, so I noticed on Twitter you were very happy about the Broncos taking Jerry Jeudy. What does Denver need in these next 2 rounds?
Linemen.
Yes.
Offensive and defensive linemen. They got to get tougher in the trenches. But I love the fact that they went out and got some guys that can get in the end zone.
John Elway didn't screw up a draft pick. John Elway didn't screw it up.
Exactly. I was talking to the guys earlier. 10 years from now, it's going to be really interesting to look back on this draft and see which of these receivers that went the 1st round turn out to be the best one. Mm-hmm. Because if it's CeeDee Lamb, then Raiders fans and Broncos fans are like, wow, we took the wrong guy. If it's Ruggs, then he's supposed to be, right? He was taken higher. So time will tell. But as a Broncos fan, I was pretty happy with the pick to get a stud wide receiver like that. Probably the best route runner in the draft. I'm pretty excited about it. So I'm not going to allow Mitch any time to brag about the Raiders pick. I'm the moderator here. I'm a Broncos
I was
fan.
gonna say I was
I'm in charge.
disappointed at first with Henry Ruggs, but then when I saw CeeDee Lamb kind of doing that sly move with his girlfriend taking away the I'm like, okay, Henry Ruggs was the right pick because I don't need no cheaters on my team. I don't need no cheaters, man. So
There you go. You keep telling yourself that, Mitch, when CeeDee Lamb's an All-Pro next year and Ruggs plays like 6 games due to injury. We'll revisit this, but anyway.
Raiders.
I
All
wrote
right.
this on Twitter. CD
That was
Lamb
fun. Are we gonna do this again at 9:00 after the second round ends?
I think we were going to do it after both rounds, but I mean, I'm game for whatever, Jeremiah.
I don't know.
So-
We
I
might
know
check
you have
back
to be
at
on
9
TV.
o'clock if we have the time. So, all right, we're gonna wrap this up. But everybody out there, thanks for watching. Again, check out everybody's content. KSLSports.com is the place to be tonight for the draft, and follow us all on Twitter. We'll have videos and all kinds of stuff posted all throughout the night. Enjoy rounds 2 of 3 of the NFL draft.